Howdy do. This is my postmortem for One Book July, and I'm just gonna do a quick flip through and show you what I discovered and what I learned. So, page 1, page 0. This is a holy card of Saint Kateri, who has a feast day smack dab in the middle of July. So usually I put a card of Joseph the Worker because I'm working here, but I thought Kateri was a good choice. This book comes from personalplanner.com, and it has a ruler, which it was very handy for me, and it just pops in. These planners you can customize, so you're supposed to say something like, hey, if I'm lost, please return to, and at the time I ordered this, I thought I would never be taking it out of the house, so I just put a little quote from Milton there, and under here is my personal email. So here, you've seen this in my other video. Here is my rat inspiration, and also centipede, which is an anchor image for a different project that I've been working on throughout the years, but also in this month. This is my month log and Alistair calendar, which is you can see more on that in my first video about One Book July. I was doing Camp NaNoWriMo this month, and I did end up winning. And this was my chart for progress. How many words I wanted to hit and how many I actually did. And of course, this is, you've probably seen this around the internets. It's a gratitude log for most people, but I put things I learned, and I like it. It's a good practice. It keeps me sharp as a bowling ball. These are my weeklies, and I set it up in the other video, and you can see that this is where I keep my to-dos, as opposed to the dailies where I keep my ta-das, everything I finished. And I really do like this extra space here to note down ongoing projects or overarching things, but I did find there was not enough room in that one little space. So once I get to the end of the book, I'll share with you my plan for what I'm going to do moving forward. So this is my first daily. This symbol is unique to my workflow. Maybe I'll do an article on it. Maybe I'll do a video on it another time. One thing I found was highlighting is really important if you're doing One Book July, if you really are just using one book, because usually when I do a brainstorm of my work, which I don't really want everybody to see, I'm able to run right to the computer once I have a bright idea. And if I'm out and about, I can't do that, so I need to somehow call attention to it. So using a highlighter solves that problem. And you would be surprised if you're in a place where there's people, like in public, and you say, does anybody have a highlighter? Somebody will. So anyhow, oh, and by the way, the best highlighters, I think, for when you're doing a planner that you want to save, not something necessarily like, oh, I'm taking notes, I'm going to throw it away. So something that's archivable. The best highlighters are those gel highlighters. They're also called Bible highlighters. They're like gel crayons, but they're really smooth, and they sit on top of the page. They don't go through it all, and they don't smudge, and they don't smear, and they're pretty fabulous. So anyhow, that's that. I'm not gonna bore you with all of my dailies and all of my brainstorms, so let's skip to, I made a future log, and in this future log, originally I thought, oh, I need to write down YouTube videos, like special ones that are coming up. And then I realized that I made these boxes so small that I only allow myself enough space to plan for 2 per month. And because the boxes are so small, I couldn't plan anything outside of YouTube. So that's going to change next time. Oh, and you see these tabs I have going on? These different color tabs. These are washi tape tabs I made to differentiate between the different projects I have. And you can easily look them up in the back. Originally, I thought I was only going to have 1 project in One Book July, because my whole plan was to use this as a tool to help me organize my days while I did Camp NaNoWriMo. So ideally, yeah, I would have just stuck to 1 project, but I can't stick to 1 project. I had to redo this key about 5 times because I ended up actively working on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 projects in the month of July. So that's that. Oh, and then there was another challenge. And I never heard of this before. It's called the Zentangle challenge. I'll put a link to it in the description. If you sign up for a newsletter, every month you get these links to patterns for Zentangles. And if you do all of them in a month, then you have the personal satisfaction of having finished them. As you see, I am not following the rules of Zentangling. I color mine in. And I love this because to do a Zentangle, it's just patterns. It's just putting order into something. You don't have to emulate what the pattern is. And I can't. I am unable to. If someone wants me to draw a square, it does not come out like a square. But if I do a pattern of something, it looks like something ordered. So that I like. And I also think doing this is a really good way to light up a different part of your brain while you're trying to be creative. This is my very, what's the word? I'm trying to think of a non-classist word for my page protector. I cut a napkin and washi taped it so that the, what do you call it? The colored pencil wouldn't smear on the other side of the page. Here's more daily stuff. Just like brain dumping. More Zentangles. More stuff. More notes on projects I'm working on. I'm gonna skip a bunch of this stuff. Oh, and then I also took this to meetings, and there was no problem. I was so like anxious. You know, people are gonna judge me because I have a calendar, or not calendar. I have a planner with a fountain pen, and nobody cares. It's like, remember when you were in high school and you had a zit, and you're like, oh no, the whole school's gonna look at my zit, and like it turns out that like nobody, except for you, looked at your zit. So anyhow, what else do I have? Some to-dos for a particular project. I took some notes on webinars and other meetings and stuff. Here's a crazy thing. When July 31st rolled around, I was on this page and I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages left. Because when I do collections, I do it from the back front to the front, so these were already filled out. So 8 blank pages for the entire month. I was kind of thinking like, ooh, am I gonna have to like roll over into another book during this month? And no. So all I did was take some notes from a meeting, or not notes, but like write a reflection, and then I took notes on a webinar. And when that was done, I did some more Zentangles, and And then I made a list of the current retrogrades, because yeah, I know it sounds really medieval of me, but I do believe that we are influenced by planets and the moon and anything with mass, like other people. So now we come to my index, and I stupidly didn't put the index in the front. And that's not like, oh, I'm wrong. Hello. It's just a matter of personal preference. So I put it in the back, and it ended up taking only 2 pages. I couldn't believe it. And then let's do an overview. This is my final page that I'm going to be sharing with you. Next July, I'm definitely going to be carrying a highlighter with me. Kitty. And I won't forget to put the index in the front. I'll be using waterproof ink. I don't care about waterproof or water fastness when I'm at home, because usually the stuff I work on in writing, I end up trashing. But when you're out and about, I mean, there's danger of getting your stuff all messed up. Why am I so ineloquent today? There's a danger that things will smear. Also, next time, because I'm so prolific in my handwriting, I don't want this spiral. I love this book. I just love it. The paper is so thick and really good quality for fountain pens. The pages are pre-numbered. You probably can't see this. I just love it. I love the company. I love how kind their customer service is. But this is a very big spiral. And when you're writing, it kind of forces you to make a big margin, so you lose a lot of real estate on the page. So I don't think I'm going to be using this again for my one book. There are other uses for such a notebook. I'm going to make a collection of ongoing tasks, like classes and projects and all that stuff, which I did not do this month because I'm like, it's just 1 month. But you'd be surprised at how much you can pack into 1 month. I also want to leave a larger future log. I explained before, I didn't have enough space. So there's so much going on in July. There were 2 Twitter pitch festivals I was part of. If you follow me on Twitter, you would have seen my pitches, which I have now deleted, because who needs to see that except for agents? Hashtag follow me. My Twitter handle is in the description. Also, I want to try a Dutch door next time, because I have all these back burner projects. If you don't know what a Dutch door is, I hope I explain it well. You physically cut the top a quarter of the page for every week that you do. So you just cut it and rip it out. So when you flip it, it's just the bottom part, like a Mr. Ed door. So that way I have my weeklies here, and then up here I can have ongoing things, ongoing tasks, or back burner projects that I can look at and not freak out when I'm like, oh no, I told her I'd do that thing for her and it's already been 2 months. So I'm sure you've been there. Anyhow, and I want to try a bigger book. I've always wanted to try the letter size circa disc bound book. It's really big, it's really expensive, but I think because I'm so prolific with my prose, I think it'll work for me. Plus, it's so easy to archive. And One Book July only comes once a year. So what I do take away though, generally, is I'm never going back to a regular planner ever again, or a pre-printed planner. I don't need to. If I do this, I'm all set. And I'm very excited about that. I think once I finish out my current bullet journal, while incorporating weeklies into it, I'm gonna switch to like a traveler's journal type setup, so that I can keep my projects, my pros, separate from my planning, and keep everything in one place. I really love keeping everything in one place. So, that is all. Thank you for watching. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up because it helps me. And until next time, long may your big jib draw.